Okay, hi everyone. Okay, so looks like everybody's raring to go tonight. So for those in Melbourne, I'm with you on the winds and the storm. So, but I hear lots of other places in Australia are probably a little bit worse off than us. So hopefully everybody can hear me very well tonight. Okay, so without further ado, just going to do some housekeeping just to make sure everybody did receive good, great. All right, so the main thing was, sorry, the trading activity information sheet. Okay, so I suggest everybody has a read of that. Okay, because it's good to have an explanation of what the form does. It does a few more things than what I've outlined there, but just to give you an idea, that is pretty much it acts like anchor for our focus, but at times we want to have laser-like focus. Okay, so and it gives you the aims. But one of the things you probably I haven't reinforced as much, which I will, is that in between each 5 minutes, there's 3 questions that must be answered. Down the track in future, after you've done your 42 hours minimum of doing the 5 minutes, you may choose to do 5, 15, 30, or you might choose not to do any of the lower time frames and just stick to the higher time frames. You might just do the diamond pip harvester. And all these things will enormously benefit from you doing this process of the 16 questions every 3 minutes, because it places you under pressure and it'll teach you where to look. So whether you do an hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, 1 minute, 5 minute, there's 3 questions you have to answer before you can actually take a trade. You're going to have to decide what order type, a buy or sell. Okay, getting that wrong could cost you a trade when you use the assessor, or even if you're looking at it that way and you're seeing a buy in your head, but your eyes are the market's showing the opposite, then you're not going to get a trade in any system. The second thing we need to do, because we do have a few systems at the moment, we're just going to be focusing on business in the briefcase, diamond pip harvester, and LMM. So how do you know which one to use first? Okay, I'll expand these. I'm just giving the 3 things. Between every 5 minutes, you're going to have to decide. You may have 4 minutes to decide or 30 seconds to decide. Just depends how quickly and how much you practice. And the third thing that we need to answer, once we've got order type and what system to use, is what time frame. So that the 3 things you have to make and decide while you're waiting for the new candle to happen. Okay, so how do we go about answering this? Well, and to have a system and routine. Okay, so hopefully you can see clearly what I've got there. How to answer these 3 questions. What order type, buy or sell? We just start off with LMM. Now with LMM is easy. There's going to be a blue line, vertical blue line or red line. Something to do with business in a briefcase chart. And it'll, being blue or red, will tell you whether it's a buy line or a sell line. Red for sell, blue for buy. Once again, diamond pip harvester, it's easy. It tells you whether it's a buy or sell. In your alert, it'll say red diamond buy alert, blue diamond sell alert. So for LMM and DPA, there's no decision for you to make. You're told which type of order you're going to be asking the questions of and which criteria. So it's very easy. Business and briefcase, a little bit more difficult. Okay, you have to choose buy or sell by identifying which has the strongest and most points supporting it. Okay, so if I was looking for a buy first thing I'd be looking in window 1 is whether it's in a buy zone or sell zone. I mean, for buy, I'll look for a buy to be in buy zone. Okay. The other thing I'll be looking from window 1 is whether the river center line is green, dotted yellow, or pink. Obviously, I preferred green. At worst case, I need it to be at least dotted yellow. Okay, because pink, when you're going for buy, is a negative point. After that, I'd quickly look at, well, I definitely look at window 3, because window 3 holds, as you can see later on, you'll see the weighings I put. Window 3 is worth up to 75 points. Okay, so it has a fair share, especially if you only need 76 to get across the line. Okay, so if you're having minuses and plus. So window 3, I'd like to go and see green histograms, and preferably if it's above 0, it'd be great, and I would definitely need to have the blue line above the red and above the 0 line. Okay, so for window 3 to support buy, I would like to see those things. Window 2 is easy. You can see whether it's green histogram and whether it's above. So if it's both green and above 0, then I've got full points for that. Okay, so you can see how we can add up the points and get a rough idea who's winning the tug of war, and that should help you choose whether it's buy or sell. Does that make sense to everyone? We choose a buy and sell order type. A yes from the crowd would be great. Anybody who disagrees, please. Okay. So for some of you it might seem basic, but you know, sometimes it's good just to identify the things that we need to look at the chart. Okay, so hopefully this will give you a guide. And it's only a guide, but it's important that you know these 3 questions, what you actually make, the decision you're making in your mind. Okay, so that's why by doing the trading activity form, it's honing your skills at making decisions quickly and methodically. Next, what system to use first? Okay, for LMM is easy. You get an alert on your phone and on your screen saying, hey, blue line, buy alert, red line, sell alert. Okay, so if you get one of those alerts in between your 5 minutes, you know that you've got till the new candle on open to see whether the line is still there. But it doesn't stop you from having a quick glance. That means you go to whichever time frame, like the LMM, the alert will say M5, and so you get to the time chart and quickly flick an LMM template on it and see whether the center line is green, if it's a blue line, because if it's pink and not even dotted and all that, a few of the things you can see it's not going to line up for a buy. By the time the new candle open, then you can really go for business in a briefcase instead of wasting 5 or 10 seconds or 20 seconds looking at it. Okay, so these are the things that you do in between your 5 minutes, because a lot of time the diamond or the vertical line will come prior to the candle finishing, and you may have time in that 5 minutes to quickly see what the alert looks like, see whether that red diamond for a diamond pip harvester has shadings. If it's a buy, red diamond buy, that the shadings are both green. If it's not, and it's only one and it doesn't look like it's going to change, once again, these could help you identify it. But generally, if you get an alert for one of those, it would be the first system that you use. And as I said, you know, it might only take you 10 seconds as a first system to look, see the criteria is met, say no, and then do a business in a briefcase straight after. So you can see, if the LMM system said no trade, then you would quickly do a business in a briefcase, ask the questions, because if the vertical line came up, there may possibly be a business in a briefcase trade there. And the same thing goes for diamond pip harvester. If you get a red diamond or blue diamond alert during your 5 minutes, because of the multi-chart screen that you have, you can pretty much see whether there's, if it's buy, whether that time frame has green shading in windows 2 and 3, in which case you would get excited because you know that when the new candle opens up and that diamond's there and you've really got the right shading, that there's going to be a good chance you're going to have a diamond flip harvester trade. Okay, now if you don't get any alerts, then the first system you use will be business in a briefcase. Okay, you get no alerts, it's going to be business in a briefcase, and you'll put it down as first. You would have selected buy or sell from your first question, and you'll then arrive at the third question that needs to be answered. Okay, once again, what time frame chart to use. On your screen, multi-screen, you'll have H1, M15, M5 for both business and briefcase and diamond flip harvester. So you have 6 charts. Once again, what time frame chart is easy when you get an alert for a blue line or red line alert, because they'll tell you whether it's M15, M5 or H1, so you already know the time frame. And the same goes for a diamond flip harvester. So when you get the alerts, most of the time those 3 questions answer themselves. Okay, if you don't get any alerts, then it's back, you're going to be doing a business in a briefcase, and just as the same way you look to see whether it's a buy and sell order when you're using business in a briefcase, in the time frame you'll be looking that if it's in 5-minute intervals, when it's 5 past, 10 past, 20 past, 25 past, the time frame is already selected for you. Okay, because at 10 past, 5 past, you can't be looking at a 15-minute chart, you can't be looking at a 1-hour chart. So the 5-minute intervals, when it's 5 past, 10 past, 20 past, 25 past, 35 past, the time frame is selected for you, so that's nice and easy. It's when you got quarter past, half past, quarter to, hourly and 4 hourly, where then you'll be saying, oh well, should I do 5 minutes, should I do 15, etc. Okay, once again, you'll observe the charts in your multi-chart state, and you'll be seeing which one has or is going to present you with the best opportunity to get a yes criteria. Okay, so if there's a buy opportunity that you've identified in question 1, then you'll be looking to see, you know, is an M5 price action closer to the extreme? Is one of them got a green center line and the other 2 don't, etc. So once again, you'll go from strongest amount of points, and which chart, business and briefcase chart, has the strongest amount of points in one direction, buy or sell. Okay, and I've just given you a quick weighing of the assessor. Okay, so for those of you who might be a little bit confused with the numbers, in window 1 I've typed W1 to say window 1, and I put 75. So the maximum positive number for either buy or sell, when you add up the points and depending which direction, okay, the most amount of points you can get from window 1 is 75. Okay, and the most number of negative points is 129. Now that looks, you think, well, how can I have 129? Easy. If price action is the wrong zone, there's an immediate minus 89 points. So easy. So that's why generally, if you've got it in the wrong zone and windows 2, 3, or 4, and 5 really aren't supporting it, you're not going to get a criteria met. Alright, saying that, if you have minus 89 and that was the only thing that was against you, that was in the wrong zone, but everything else, the greedy line, center line, and all that gave you maximum points, and you only had minus 89 to overcome, if you get 27 in window 2, 75 in window 3, 12 and 12, even though you're in the price actions in the wrong zone, you can still pick enough points to overcome the minus 89 and have plus 76, which is, as we can see, the threshold required for criteria met. Okay, so I apologize that the numbers mightn't make sense to you, so that's why if you just answer the questions, the logic in the questions and how the assessor works, it'll work it out for you. Okay, but for those that like that sort of information, it's there. And the other part, okay, in the beginning, when you get a closed computer or no trade, you might feel rejection. I don't want you to go and take it personally. The assessor is like a referee. Based on what it sees and the information, it just gives you like tennis, over the line, out of bounds, fault, etc. Same with the trade assessor. When it weighs it all up, they'll just call it the way it is. So, you know, don't take it personally. What you should do is, knowing that when you're going to ask the question, because you have to ask the question, because that's the process of the activity form, is to decide, okay, I know it's not going to give me a criteria met, but based on the amount of points, it's going to say no trade to me. Or they're both a line call, and I don't really want either, and there's not enough support of no trade, so this trade, when I get the criteria back, it's going to say closed computer. So either way, every time you're asking the questions, you're getting the benefit of understanding the relationship, and you actually know before it tells you closed computer that it's closed computer. You know that it's going to say no trade. I know the difference between no trade and closed computer. Okay, so that means every time you answer the question, you're getting a benefit, and you get a win-win because you've picked the right one. So that way, no matter what it tells you, you'll always be a winner because you were able to tell it and select what it's going to tell you before it told you. Okay, so does that make sense and make you feel better and not feel rejected? I hope so. Okay, so moving on to an actual chart, so we can just see what an actual chart looks like. Okay, you guys have seen this every week with me. Once again, hopefully I'm going to put it in a slightly different way that allows you to get more benefit. Now, I've got it from large or H1 on the left, 15 in the middle, and 5 to the right. Okay, I do it because that's the way I normally read it. Okay, now you can see my crosshair, and I'm just going to go and point to the bottom left hand corner, which is the H1 diamond pip harvester. Okay, I've got the crosshair on that blue diamond. Okay, so that blue diamond's indicated that the H1 has reached a high point. It's got a line joining it, so that means it's a high point that's in at least more than one time frame. That means current time frame and maybe a high time. Okay, and that diamond is near the Green River bank, so you know that's probably getting towards the extreme, so that's a logical bounce point. So that's the top. Then I expect to see things that suggest and support a bit of a downward movement. Okay, so following a diamond a high time frame, and it's probably not going to give me an opportunity to enter the trade, and I can see that there's no pink shading in window 2. Now, because I've got multi-charts, I can easily see next to it in the middle the M15 diamond pip harvester. Now I'm going to put a crosshair, and I'm going to put it on that blue diamond sell alert. That's the same one that I just had the crosshair on the H1. Okay, so you can see from the information that we saw in the H1 that yes indeed there's a move downwards of the candlesticks, and we can see that there's the orange timing line. Okay, so this is the name we're going to be naming the orange one, as it didn't have a name before apart from orange line. All the lines, white trend line, yellow future line, blue greedy line, orange timing line. Okay, so that way, and the reason why we've called timing line, I'll just expand the M15, is that generally it's a good guide. You know, as long as you can see the orange line is separated from the green center line, and the green center line is green, it's indicating there's still movement upwards. And when it does finally cross after and committed itself and it's gone across, you see not long after it's given you a confirmation the price action is truly ready to go down. So it gives you a pretty close timing of when it wants to move up and down. Okay, so over here, and how many times you've seen the orange line refuse to cross the center line, and you've seen the price action keep moving in that direction because the orange timing line hasn't crossed. Okay, so that plus the business and briefcase will give you a very strong sense of how to time a change of up to down. Okay, so we can see many times this situation. Over here, orange timing line still remained there, price action, and that still remained down. It didn't go too much further down, but it didn't quite come up, and when it did, it only pierced the orange line only to go back down again. And over here, the final bit, it's still struggling to go past, and you can see that there's still separation. So the timing line as to when price actions really commit to a reasonable size movement in opposite direction helps give it its name. We do have to again thank Gina for suggesting that name as an appropriate name for the orange line, and since I agree and seemed right, that's what it's good, and I like to have a name that has some meaning when I'm looking at a chart. Okay, so just to get back to what we're talking about. Okay, so just realize there's a connection that this blue candle, this blue star to where in the middle, in the top left hand corner of the M15 is the same blue star that was in a blue diamond that's in the H1. Okay, and on the M5 we're able to exploit it even more. Okay, so I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so the diamond that we're talking about is, okay, bear with me. That one just here. Okay, so this is the same blue diamond from the 1 hour and the 15 minutes. Okay, so I'll just see if I can move this. Okay, can't move my little thing. The grey part that you see on the left hand side is actually the Teamviewer window that I'm looking at, so it seems to be one of the quirks of this the Teamviewer. Okay, so but I'll expand it a bit, and here's that that high. So from 1 hour you got that was a high, and price action wanted to move down, and by having the multi-screen chart you're able to see the movement there. And if you weren't able to go and get on Diamond Pip Harvester, but because it's so clear to see on Diamond Pip Harvester, it allows you then to take advantage of it on Business in a Briefcase. Okay, so once again I'll just, you can see that here it's Business in a Briefcase M5, and that's the same blue diamond at 83.716 that was in the 1 hour. Okay, and because this part in window 3 is missing, we know it needs to be refreshed. So sometimes you have a lot of time between your 5 minutes, what I suggest you do in this time is perhaps refresh 2 or 3 of the charts, all 6 if you can, because you might as well make it a useful time. And for you, if your charts refresher gives you the most up-to-date information, so when you're asking the questions, you're actually seeing the most up-to-date chart. Okay, so now the refresh here just moved from one time frame to the other, so I moved up to the 15, now I'll go back to the 5, and I'll find that in window 3 that my window 3 is now displaying all the histograms and lines that were missing before. So these are signs that the chart needs to be refreshed. Okay, so just to go back, from the hour we saw the blue diamond, 15 we saw more red candles, and then when we go to the 5, not only do we see red candles, we see red candles go down, go up, and go down. Okay, so, and if the move is generally going to go down 4 or 5 1-hour candles, this is the way it's going to look on a 5-minute. Okay, so at the 1 hour you got the blue diamond, and here you can see in the 5-minute, 10, 15, 20 minutes into that 1 hour, you're starting to go and get very strong points for sell, getting pink histograms in window 2, pink histograms and blue line below red line and blue line below 0. You're seeing a pink center line. Price actions at this stage could have been in the sell, but because of spike it may have been there. But to combat that, we've got things like the greedy lines gone outside, showing momentum, and these things will help it even if it's in the wrong zone. So even if it did, price action did open in the buy zone, if you've got greedy line out and green pink center line and a lot of pink in window 2 and 3 and red in 4 and 5, you can overcome a price action being in the wrong zone. Okay, no worries, Peter and Lee. So, yeah, sorry, lost connection. Must be a lot of storms in New Zealand. Okay, so, and after down, it will go sideways, and then it gave another opportunity a little later on to go down. Okay, so these things were pretty much exploited, and you could see when you had the multi-screen in front of you. Okay, so a diamond, and especially when it's near like a blue diamond cell, or if it's near the green riverbank, it's generally quite a good indication that price action might actually be ready to move downwards. Okay, and as you can see, both in the business and the briefcase, you can see the blue greedy line crossing above the river center line, confirming that there is downward move, downward pressure. And you can see in the chart below, which is Diamond Pip Harvester, you can see that the orange timing line has actually crossed a little bit before the blue greedy line, not too much. So giving you just a little bit earlier timing to say, yeah, that blue diamond is a high, so I am going to go down. In which case, having that and going to the 15 and 5, you quite strongly know that price action is committed to give you an opportunity to take a sell trade. Okay, so as I said, so yeah, so that's a 5-minute. The first leg, there's about 30 pips. Okay, second leg, it's about another 25 pips. So 2 trades, not too difficult. This is Aussie yen, so pound yen would probably be doing something similar and all that, but the approach would be the same. Okay, so if you've got big clues and because even on the M5, when the chart is multi-chart like this, you can see that a high, once it's confirmed, it's got the MD blue line to show a resistance. And when you get the low, if that is a high, it will want to find a low, so you've got direction downwards. And to the left, when you had 1 hour, you could see that it had a low that gave you that high. And once you've got additional confirmation that price is prepared to go down a little bit, then that's giving you a more than 60% that it's going to go down. That's reinforced when you go to a smaller time frame. And then when you start seeing pink center line and separation to the orange timing line, there's a pretty good chance that it'll want to get a red diamond. Okay, so these are all things indicating that the trade can go until a red diamond. Okay, so an M15 Aussie, you know, on a 5 minute, maybe a 15 pip default, etc. In which case a 15 pip default returning 30 pips would give you a 2 for 1. Alright, so hopefully that made sense and allows you to go and take advantage of why we, after we've done the assessment every 5 minutes, to go back to the multi-chart screen so that we can just glean some of this additional peripheral information and help us in getting these trades. Okay, so when you get those alerts for diamonds and lines, these are some of the things that could tell you at an unconscious level or subconscious level. Okay, so any questions? And has tonight made good sense and reinforced some of the information along the way? Good. Okay, so anytime you have any question, please don't hesitate. Take a good picture, post it, and let's all get the benefit of it. Okay, so happy pipping, and if you need clarity, just post. That way, if everybody that's watched this sees the post, can get the benefit of it. Okay, so it'll be a very good week of trading. Okay, once again, we are getting a reasonable amount of news for Aussie, so I expect some good Aussie moves this week. Okay, so you know, so things like Aussie New Zealand, Aussie CAD, Aussie Aussie yen, all to go and give good trades. Okay, so I'll be on the look after that. So if it does make the break, it will be a decent break. And if you've seen something that gives you an indication that it wants to break one way or the other, please point out what your theory is and let me give you feedback on it. Okay, so good night, and I'll have this up on Dropbox very shortly. Please read your email on the information sheet. Okay, and thank you once again. Good night all.